Here's the thing. Your organization can only be as agile as its least agile function. And usually, that's not technology anymore. Let me start by introducing you to the original theory of constraints. From the book The Goal by Eli Goldratt, Theory of Constraints basically says that in any process, there is a constraining factor, and that there will always be a constraining factor. Let me give you an example. Here's something that my daughter helped put together literally to demonstrate this. So let's say you are producing cars on a production line. It takes you 5 minutes to install the engine and 4 minutes to install the wheels. These cars are going to roll off the production line once every 5 minutes. And no amount of transformation or improvement on the wheel team is going to improve the throughput to get these cars rolling off the production line any faster. The corollary to theory of constraints is that there's always a constraint. So let's say you do transform the engine team. Let's say you get it from 5 minutes down to 3. Fantastic. Now, does that mean cars roll off the production line every 3 minutes? No, because the constraint has moved from the engine team to the wheel team. Now, cars are rolling off once every 4 minutes. That's better than the 5 minutes that it was before, but not as good as the 3 minutes that it perhaps could be if you release the next constraint. Which brings us, with apologies to Eli Goldratt, to Evans' theory of agile constraints. An organization can only be as agile as its least agile function, and that's not technology anymore for most organizations. Let me tell you my story. I started with Agile back in 2003, specifically in the domains and areas of business intelligence and data warehousing. Now, this is an area that it used to take 2 or 3 years to bring a product to fruition. And that's a very long time, and a lot of things would happen to the point where the reports and the data analytics that was requested 2 or 3 years previously were no longer needed by the time the project was completed. Now, this isn't very good. So one of the things that we had done is we decided we were going to try this newfangled agile thing. And it worked. We got it to a point using a combination of Scrum and XP where we could have a potentially shippable product increment every 4 weeks. Now, 4 weeks is a lot better than 2 to 3 years. But remember what I said about constraints. At a certain point, it didn't matter because we had to wait for a release window from our operations team. And those release windows were once every 6 months. So 6 months is still better than 2 to 3 years, granted, but not as good as the 4 weeks that we had got to. Now, this meant that our ability to deploy these new features and capabilities, our ability to create value for our customers was limited, not by our team, but by the operations team. They were or had become the constraint. Let's fast forward to 2008. A lot of things had changed by then. In the technology space, techniques like DevOps and continuous deployment enabled organizations to create and deploy value rapidly. I think if I remember correctly, Amazon has a statistic of being able to deploy every 11.3 seconds, much better than a 6-monthly release window. So let's think about it. We have a potentially shippable product increment every 2 or 4 weeks. We have an ability to deploy change into production to our customers every 11 seconds. This is fantastic. So where's the constraint? In most organizations today, those constraints have moved outward into the broader organizational ecosystem. It still takes 4 months to get a hiring ticket, 9 months to get a budget change approved, 2 months to get through the project control board or the change advisory board. Your ability, your organization's ability to be agile is now constrained by other parts of the organization. And this is where you need to focus. But here's the thing. There is always going to be a constraint. So your job is to find the next constraint, release it, exploit it, whether it's in HR or finance or operations, to release the flow of value through the organization and ultimately achieve business agility.